Quincy Promes was once the star of the Netherlands. But now, the same country where he was born is looking to put him behind bars.
Bit of breaking news now involving Quincy Promes. He's been jailed for 6 years.
In December 2020, Promes was detained for stabbing his cousin in the Netherlands. However, after finding safe haven in Russia and the UAE, it seems the Dutch professional footballer no longer cares about the law. He even taunted the Netherlands by uploading music videos flaunting a gangster lifestyle, and also attempted to smuggle more than 1.3 metric tons of cocaine into the country. But how did Quincy Promes, once signed by Spanish club Sevilla for 20 million euros, become one of the most hated players in football history? And why is Dubai Football Club allowing him to continue his journey? Being one of the greatest players of all time, Brazilian footballer Ronaldinho was not only an inspiration to Lionel Messi, but also to the entire world. But for Promes, Ronaldinho was a godlike figure. Born in Amsterdam, Promes grew up watching every game Ronaldinho played. He was so inspired by his incredible skills that he imitated Ronaldinho, playing football morning, noon, and night. So much that his mother scolded him daily for staying outside and not focusing on his studies. Nonetheless, young Promes was determined to become one of the greatest and joined the local football club RKSV. His skills were so unique and incredible that at 16, he joined the Netherlands' most successful football club, Ajax. As a result, Promes began to believe that one day, just like Ronaldinho, thousands of people would chant his name.
Natuurlijk Promes. Daar zijn ze weer.
But then he was kicked out of Ajax. You see, with the rise of a football star, his behavior on and off the field matters as much as scoring goals. Just like Luis Suarez was criticized for biting opponents 3 times, or when Messi's reputation suffered due to excessive drinking.
Y el año que viene vamos a seguir y vamos a ganar todo.
And Promes, well, it was not about biting his opponents or drinking excessive amount of alcohol. It was actually his enormous ego that forced Ajax to immediately eliminate him from the club. Specifically, after joining Ajax, Promes became so overconfident and proud of his skills that he started taunting other players, claiming no one was better than him. In an interview, he said, "I had a big mouth. I always said what I thought, but not always at the right time. On the field, I was greedy, convinced that I played better football than anyone else in the world. After all, I was in the Ajax Academy, every Dutch boy's dream. But my behavior eventually got on everyone's nerves and they kicked me out." Now, every young footballer has moments of immaturity, but this incident hurt Promes deeply, and he even considered giving up on his football career. He said, "When this happened, I realized I had nothing. There was no bus to pick me up. I had to take a train, which I couldn't afford. I had nowhere to eat. Honestly, I cried for days. I even thought about quitting football. It was a dangerous moment. One wrong step and I would be on the streets. But I fought for my dream because I wanted to play football too much." Surprisingly, his mother, who once scolded him for playing football, encouraged him to follow his dream. In addition, his confidence in football was restored when he met coach Casper Decker at the Haarlem club. Under Decker, Promes not only honed his skills, but also learned how to collaborate peacefully with other players. And this renewed attitude attracted the attention of FC Twente, where he began his professional career and scored his first goal.
En wordt het nog erger voor FC Dordrecht. Houtkoop is er opnieuw vandoor. Promes. Oh, wat een mooie goal zeg. Wat een beauty daar van Quincy Promes.
However, despite his exceptional performances, Promes still had doubts about his worth as one of the best players in the world. So, to prove himself and gain more experience, Promes joined Go Ahead Eagles on loan. For those unfamiliar with this concept, rising players can be loaned out to other clubs while still under contract with their original club. Clubs often do this to evaluate players before offering permanent contracts or to fill in for injured stars, and Promes embraced this opportunity without worrying about immediate payment, which actually helped build a positive reputation. Luckily, the strategy worked in his favor. By August 2012, fans at Go Ahead Eagles loved him so much that they gave him the nickname Promessi. By 2013, he was named the league's biggest talent of the year after scoring 13 goals. But this was just the beginning of his rise. The next year, Russia's most successful club, Spartak Moscow, bought Promes for 15 million euros, where he scored 66 goals and was praised by legendary figures like Nikita Simonian. There was no doubt this man was in top form, and clubs were literally fighting to sign him up. For example, he signed a 20 million euro deal with the Spanish club Sevilla and finally was hired by the same club that once kicked him out. In 2019, Ajax bought Promes for 15.7 million euros. It was like a dream come true, something he had waited for more than 10 years. He even scored a hat trick against Fortuna Sittard to prove his worth. Promes proudly said, "I have speed and technique, so I can show a beautiful game, create moments, and make fans happy. I like to play football that the viewers would enjoy watching." Unfortunately, with all the fame and glory, something happened that destroyed everything he had built. In a peaceful town in the Netherlands, Promes was having a family party in July 2020 during the COVID lockdown. But after the party, Promes's cousin was suddenly stabbed in the knee with a sharp knife. As the victim shouted for help, everyone rushed to assist. But when they looked around to see who had caused the injury, it was Quincy Promes holding the knife in his hand, and his face was filled with an unfamiliar anger that was never witnessed before. Surprisingly, Promes's cousin did not initially report the incident to the police, fearing it would ruin the football star's reputation. However, after months of internal struggle, the victim finally decided to file a case. In December 2020, Promes was arrested on attempted murder charges. Of course, he denied any involvement and was released from custody after 2 days. But why would he do something that could lead to his termination from Ajax once again? In a 2016 interview, Promes promised never to repeat such unacceptable behavior, saying, "I have a beautiful wife, 2 daughters. If I started behaving differently, I will not only bury my dream, but also my life. I did it once and started over, and I got back up, but I don't want to fall again." Not to mention, when Promes committed this crime, he was already under a 5-year contract with Ajax. So why did he keep repeating the same mistakes? Well, it turns out that with the rise in fame and the desperate demand for his skills, Promes's hunger for power and money had reached dangerous levels. It was a flashback to his earlier days at Ajax where he said, "I was greedy on the field. I had no doubt I played football better than anyone else in the world." So having achieved the fame and money he always wanted, Promes was no longer afraid of the consequences of his dangerous behavior. Not even Ajax, who had signed him for 15.7 million euros. However, at the same time, Ajax was not afraid to terminate him again. After hearing about the attempted murder charges, the club canceled their contract with him. But this time, Promes didn't cry or become emotional as he had before. Instead, he did the opposite, feeding his hunger for more power. You see, when the Dutch police released Promes from custody, they made one crucial mistake. They didn't impose any travel restrictions. Now, the authorities did this with good intentions, not wanting to affect Promes's career, but they failed to realize that their football star was about to betray his own country. In October 2022, Promes was supposed to appear for a criminal trial in the Netherlands. Prosecutors were arguing for a 2-year prison sentence, but the football star not only refused to attend the trial, he vowed to stay in Russia. Unfortunately, the Netherlands couldn't do anything about it as they have no extradition treaty with Russia. Furthermore, since leaving Ajax, Promes rejoined Russia's most successful club, Spartak Moscow, for 8.5 million euros. So, one way or another, he was winning from every angle. Right before the trial, he scored the winning goal against FC Dynamo Moscow, helping Spartak win the 2022 Russian club final. As a result, there was no way Russia would give up one of their finest players, not to mention the strained relations between the Netherlands and Russia after the Netherlands imposed sanctions on Russia at the start of the war with Ukraine. It was a perfect loophole in the law, which Promes took full advantage of. The situation worsened when the Dutch prosecution service decided to prosecute Promes for drug trafficking, a crime punishable by 6 years in prison. This incident dates back to January 2020 when Promes, while living in the Netherlands, attempted to import more than 1.3 metric tons of cocaine through the port of Antwerp in Belgium. Surprisingly, Dutch police only discovered this in May 2023 after conducting further investigations into Promes' background. However, at the same time in Russia, Promes was living the best time of his life. In a match against CSKA Moscow, he surpassed Russian legend Yegor Titov, scoring more than 88 goals in the history of the Russian Premier League. Additionally, he taunted the Dutch government by uploading several music videos from Russia. For example, Quincy Promes, Swepress Freestyle, Quincy Promes Van Boven, and Quincy Promes Worst Day. Despite all the support he had in Russia, the Netherlands was not ready to give up. Last year, they issued a red corner notice against Quincy Promes and added him to the international wanted list. Fortunately for the Dutch authorities, in February 2024, Promes was in Dubai to promote the mid-season camp his club was holding in the country. Since the UAE and the Netherlands signed an extradition treaty in 2021, the Border Control Police in Dubai took Promes into custody. Nonetheless, it seems there is a bigger picture unfolding in Dubai. Despite being arrested for 6 months, all of a sudden there was breaking news from United FC, the biggest football club in Dubai. The very first line of the announcement read, "United FC is thrilled to announce the major signing of Quincy Promes, who has officially joined the club as a free agent ahead of the 2024-2025 season. But we're talking about a criminal who is listed on the international wanted list. He stabbed his cousin and was involved in smuggling tons of cocaine." People are even commenting on his Dubai images with the same question. How is bro free? Or thought bro was in jail? Well, the ugly truth is that power and money seem to dominate the world, and Promes is taking full advantage of this trend.